to recession in 2016, and the attendant challenges led the federal government issuing an executive order in May of 2017 on ease of doing business in Nigeria. The order, which sought to address certain shortcomings in government circles and position Nigeria as a preferred investment destination, also aimed at achieving, among others, transparency in government ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs for short, deal with issues of poverty and job creation. With a national action plan rolled out in phases, Nigeria's quest for a competitive business environment is proving to be worth it. With phase 2, Nigeria has recorded an unprecedented move up the World Bank Index on Ease of Doing Business from 169 to 145. The third phase of the National Action Plan has just been unveiled by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. My name is Segun Ojelade. I welcome you to Nigeria Today. I'm being joined in the studio to discuss efforts so far at easing doing business in Nigeria by two eminent Nigerians. I have with me Dr. Mrs. Jumoke Oduwole. She is the Senior Special Assistant to Mr. President on Industry, Trade and Investment in the Office of the Vice President. I welcome you to the program.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
I also have Professor Ken Ife, a development economist, a well-known face on Nigeria Today. I welcome you, Prof.
Thank you very much.
Program. I think I'll start with you, Prof. Ease of doing business seems to be a very popular slogan in government, especially in business circle. What are some of those indices, maybe some of those things that necessitated introduction of ease of doing business in Nigeria? Is it our rating or what?
Well, the ease of doing business is one of the indicators, and this is from World Bank, but there are many others, but is particularly looking at the ease of doing business across 10 constructs. And what really excites me about the project is the use of presidential executive orders, and two, demonstrating to Nigerians that this immovable third quartile position, which we have been in for God knows when, that jinx can be broken. And it was indeed broken. A target of 20 steps ahead was set, and it was exceeded. Let's have something to smile about. So I'm happy to join that party. But there are other areas that we must have to look at.
Okay.
It's a good beginning.
You mentioned 20. What does it mean? What do you mean by that?
Now, those 10 indicators, I mean, I can tell you what they are. There's ease of registration a business, ease of registering a title, and then construction permit, the enforcing contract. You also have accessing credit. You have the electricity, access to electricity, not whether you have it the following day, but accessing it. Then you have minority interests, as shown in the stock market. We're doing extremely well in that. And then there are taxes, several challenges on taxes, multiple taxation in some cases, not even getting anything in other cases. So there are two extremes on taxes. There's one particular one that is in the purview of federal government, which is trade across borders.
Yes.
And that has two components, import and export. And you measure those on the number of procedures and how long it takes and
to
what
get
it
them
costs
done.
you.
Okay.
So you do it on both ways. So these are the indicators. So they score them, weigh them, and put your position. Nigeria, unfortunately, seems to be at extremely low position, but we're moving forward.
Okay.
But the successes are spread across various indicators.
Let's hear from the SSA to Mr. President. When we talk about some of the reforms that have been carried out in the ease of doing business, what are they? and where are the reforms located?
Thank you, and thank you, Prof, for that very succinct exposition on exactly what ease of doing business is. So there are two parts to it that the Nigerian government is looking at. The World Bank has a flagship report, the Doing Business Report, and that's an empirical study, what Prof has just listed out across 10 areas, and you're ranked with 190 countries. So for the last decade, Nigeria has been slipping just in free fall. Till 2016, when we started working on this, we were able to stem the tide, and we actually moved up by one place from 170 to 169, but we didn't even want to talk about it. But then, what it told us, it took us time to really study what it takes to look at businesses. Is from the birth to death, from company registration to insolvency, being able to die in dignity. I mean, some businesses fail, that's the reality. But how are your creditors able to treat you? We still have to protect business owners, even if something goes wrong. And from the ease of starting your business, from getting set up, your construction. So we've kind of focused on each of those indicators. We work, Reform Leaders, a small team, the Secretariat of the Council, we work with MDAs. So each MDA has a reform champion, and we meet. In fact, Tuesday is the day we have our weekly meetings. So all day we've been meeting together. And we strategize what we are, a fresh pair of eyes, to look at the processes. So if you take starting a business, you look at sometimes it was taking weeks. And we said this thing can take 48 hours. What would it take? And you start working backwards, automation, infusing payment of stamp duties electronically. So we worked with CAC and FIRS to make sure this could be done electronically, and then making sure that the portal is steady. We worked with private sector to stabilize the portal, main one, and Oasis. And that kind of collaboration gives you the results that you need. In other areas, payment of taxes, registering property, worked with Lagos State and Kano State. Removing simple things like the requirement for an affidavit. So it's really, last cycle we were taking the lowest hanging fruit and sort of cleaning up and making sure that things are simpler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, from what you've said, it's like you started afresh.
Yes.
I think I was hearing something like a one-stop shop for a long time. What is the difference between the one-stop shop that we had in the past, where we have all government agencies? You have them in one location. What is the difference between that and what you're doing now?
There's no difference. It's all two sides of the same coin, and we work closely together. NIPC is custodian of the one-stop shop.
Okay.
They have about 27 agencies present on the second floor of their building, and an investor can come in, or even a Nigerian entrepreneur can go in and get different certificates and applications and registrations all within that premises. What we are doing is looking at agencies where they are and almost auditing the procedures for transparency. So access to information for business people, for Nigerian SMEs, and for anyone that wants to do business in Nigeria. We also, so that's access to information, the list of procedures, the people responsible, the cost, all that access to information. We also look at the cost of doing business and the time of doing business. Those are the three things that we focus on when we look at each indicator area.
You will be able to cut the time it takes for some of these things to happen. Okay.
Yes.
Number of procedures.
Number of procedures. Let's go to specific areas now.
More specific. Okay.
Yes. The ports, for instance, there is one aspect of it that says that, okay, even if we are going to have multiple government agencies at the ports, their operations must be streamlined. But from some of the things that we're reading, it's like we are not there yet. What areas do we still have bottlenecks? Old habits, they say, die hard.
Let's talk about the port. And I'm really glad that Jumoke began by saying they were looking at low-hanging fruits. It's better to sort that out. But there are stubborn ones, and you just hit one of them. This is the port. The port is federal government. And that, first of all, there are two big players in this. There are four solid indicators that are solidly with state governments. And then we have to engage state governments if you are going to have traction in those. And that is about the registering business at the state level, the title. If you want to build a house or buy a property or register a property, it takes time. Then if you start building as a business owner, construction permit. To get that is another wahala. Then even when you get through to a contract and you have issues about enforcing contract in the court, for some of them it can even take 500 days. So we would have to look at how we work with state governments to deliver on this.
Yes.
Then secondly, the proxy for measuring Nigeria is Lagos. And so luckily the port is in Lagos. But they also have to talk about engaging some big boys like Kano, Kaduna, Rivers, Port Harcourt, Ibadan. So that at least one big boy in each political zone is a big step going forward. And then what lesson we learn from Jigawa that is number one during the subnational is also has to be in the mix, because I know that when we do the best things that we need to do based on what Jigawa has done, our position will be number 72, not 145. But anyway, back to your question about the port saga. It's not enough to chalk out 15 agencies clustering the port. You have to look at the system. The reason why we are still sending things to Cotonou and all that is when you implement single window fully, you will see the benefit. It's not just for you to take 2 weeks to clear your goods in Lagos. Look at the cost. It's not just demurrage, it's the truck that you brought in. You are paying 150,000 a day, sitting there with the container, and then they tell you that this thing is not working, the scanner is not working. Look at all that cost. So if something is cleared in 24 hours or 48 hours in Cotonou, they just go there and do the clearing and move it through the porous borders. So it's competition. And we have to be alive to competitiveness. So why can we not put our finger on the problem and say we will have to have a single window in the next 6 months or 1 year?
Okay, that brings me to my next question. Your office, for instance, or the group that you say has been set up to do some of these reforms that we're talking about, what powers do you have to impress? Let me not use the word force some of these reforms. As he has said, we still have some stubborn big boys in the system. Do you have powers, or how far can you go in ensuring that what you say put down in policy are done?
Well, my boss has powers. The Vice President is the chair of the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council. It got a FEC approval. Mr. President asked him to lead the initiative because of the importance. We have 10 ministers under it. You have the head of service. You have the central bank governor. You have now representation from Lagos and Kano State. You have representation from the National Assembly and the judiciary. So when you work across sections like this, and of course private sector, when you work with a cross-section of important stakeholders, they have the authority to work with the agencies, the ministries and the departments.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thank God for some of the things you said about the caliber of people that are on the team. But one officer, one stubborn officer, corrupt officer at the ports or at the airports can make nonsense of some of these things.
Yeah.
You still go to either our ports or even the airport, you still see the rats there, the port rats, or even the touts that are still operating. Are we working on this?
We definitely are. Prof referred to at the very beginning of his intervention the executive orders and the use of executive orders. Last May, the very first executive order of this administration was on ease of doing business, on transparency and efficiency of MDAs, their service delivery. I'll tell you a bit about the content of the executive order. It has a lot to do with the ports, the seaports and the airports, a single interface, making sure that there's collaboration between different ministries, departments and agencies that have authority over certain actions. I should really mention...
Doctor, please let me just cut you there. We need to take a short break. Okay. When we come back, we'll be talking about the content of the executive order. Okay. Now, the program is Nigeria Today. We are taking a look at the executive order on ease of doing business. We'll be right back. My two guests are still around.
Coming up on NTA News 24, Nigeria Today, 7:30, Monday to Friday, with exciting anchors on topical issues. Inspirators, a search for those who inspire others. Business 24, a business magazine program. Late edition repackaged. Fresh and exciting programming on NTA News 24. Stay with us.
You're welcome back. The program Nigeria Today continues on the ease of doing business in Nigeria. Now, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, before we went on break, you were talking about the contents of the reforms. Please
so the Executive Order 1 on efficiency and transparency really focuses on the seaports and the airports. One of the things that the Executive Order asks for is a single interface in searching of cargo, searching of passengers, luggage, and agencies have been asked to work together to agree service level agreements and timelines to have their work done. Now with the seaports, Prof called it a stubborn problem. Indeed, trading across borders and trading within Nigeria are two aspects that we have given disproportionate attention because of the importance to the economy. And you talked about single window. We actually have effect memo imminent to be presented. We worked on it for over a year. A broad section, Ministry of Finance with Ministry of Transport, Customs and Nigerian Ports Authority, and come up with a system that should have us have scanners and single window and a ports community portal within this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the human beings, I'm particular about human beings, the operators at some of these points that we're talking about, maybe in government offices, maybe at the ports, as we have said, or those that will come, that investors will first come in contact with. And you talk of the Nigerian factor. There is still some people out there that are still cutting corners, bribe, still, How do we deal with such issues? Where have we had scapegoats?
No, see, the Nigerian factor thrives when you have the absence of a functional system. And the reason I'm saying and keep saying, call it the name is single window. There's nothing else. Customs have power. Forget that. That is just a process. You have so many different things around it. The actual word is single window, national single window, before you can have regional single window. Many countries have been really waiting for Nigeria for more than 10 years. Senegal, Ghana, our neighbors, they've been waiting for us to implement a regional single window. Now, when you have that system, it's a very well-defined system. You can't mess about with it. In fact, nothing happens until you implement the system. He says this, we are committed to clearing a good within 24 hours. In fact, before your good enters your London seaport, before it actually enters the ship, it has been cleared in Nigeria by Nigerian customs. Before you load Nigerian ship here going to London, it has been cleared by London authorities, which means when they have cleared it, they have cleared it. You pay all duties that needs to be paid. When the goods come, it gets out. Because you haven't got any more procedure waiting for you, except maybe there are some alarms or something. But that is what it is. It means that if nothing happens, nothing happens. If you don't feel nothing happens. Then you can sit down. If customers don't bring their goods, you have no money to collect. So that is the thing. It thrives. The corruption thrives because there's no system that is working. That is an international standard system that works.
Okay.
And it makes a difference, a huge difference on our economy.
Okay.
I absolutely agree with him, and that's why it's been prioritized. The Vice President himself chaired a number of meetings on exactly getting the single window, the scanners, and a ports community so that there's automation, you reduce the rent-seeking opportunities. There's single interface right now as a palliative measure to make sure that there's coordination, reduction in documentation, all that is going on. But the real thing is getting the single window and the scanners into place. We've also been working on the roads because the access to Apapa ports has been really terrible. So the Vice President himself visited and been working with Ministry of Power Works and Housing, some corporate social responsibility from Dangote and Flour Mills, working on the Apapa Road. On the Tinkan Island side, you have Boa and Honeywell working in that area. The work has been a bit slow. We've had reports back visiting and the site visits, but there are timelines set, and we're hoping to really have at least some palliative measures. The use of containers and moving empty containers away from the area. There's a whole traffic task force that's been working. Of course, we should call out the rent-seeking behaviors of a lot of the agencies that work on that axis, and making sure that also, I mean, I know it's difficult for the private sector, but it does take two for corruption, and we need to make sure that everybody is on the same page on what we need to deliver.
There is one aspect of the other, one government directive in the past. We have government agencies issuing multiple directives, multiple orders, you know. And again, there's one other aspect of it that says, okay, once an agency has asked, you presented a document in one agency, you don't necessarily have to go to the next agency to. How, in operation, how has it been?
So the idea is to get agencies more efficient and more effective. Don't ask the SME to go from one office to another, getting copies and filling forms with the same information that you filled several times before in several different agencies. Use your databases, collaborate your one government, at least the federal agencies. In practice, we're trying to get them to work together. For instance, in the airport, getting customs and immigration to work together so that passengers, travelers are filling just one form on exit, and only non-Nigerians are filling a form on return.
How do you monitor the performance of some of these directives?
Internally, we have the Executive Order 1 measurement matrix, M&E matrix, and we actually in December released our first 6-month report. And not a lot of agencies, some did well, and some were really lacking. So we called that out, and the heads of agencies and the ministers are taking attention, paying attention, because you see that you mentioned maybe an officer isn't taking it very seriously. We have monthly reports being submitted. We ask for certain information, and we collate that information. We've also tasked Servicom with doing what they were set up to do and doing their job.
Are there likely to be sanctions for those agencies that are found to be?
There are likely to be sanctions. For instance, I know that last year the Comptroller General of Immigration at our behest went to the airport undercover. So he was in the airport at least 2 hours before his boys and his staff realized that it was him. So quite a number of the officers were disciplined. Some were even posted out of the Lagos International Airport because of that intervention. I think that happened about twice last year.
Okay. Yeah. How about the customs?
The customs, we've been working very actively with the Comptroller General to try and make sure that there's discipline. A lot of the complaints, we've reported them. But most importantly, perhaps most importantly, the Council has approved a web-based application, the PEBEC.report. We've been testing it for the last 8 weeks, and it's working perfectly well. What we've been working with agencies on is the back end. So if you go online now and you type PEBEC.report, you come up with a portal that 8 agencies from Police, Customs, NAFDAC, SON, CAC, you can actually lodge a complaint or give feedback. Yes, or give feedback. If you see something that you like that has changed, you can also do that. And you can lodge a complaint. Now what this does is put the validation in the hands of the Nigerian public. Because we can't go everywhere. So sometimes people tell us, oh, somebody collected money from me. Who? They don't know the name. They don't want to say. So now every officer is supposed to have their name sewn on their uniform. And they're supposed to be only at the airport, for instance, when they're on duty. So if the more information that the public can gather, even take pictures, you'll be able to upload pictures onto the portal. And once we have the information, the time, because at airports, there's CCTV cameras, and we've had a number of incidents that we've been able to intervene because there were details.
Please, Prof, because of our time, if you are to advise the operators of these executive orders on ease of doing business in 1 or 2 sentences, what will you tell them?
Look, I appreciate quality improvement schemes, complaint monitoring systems, but they're all adjunct to the key McCoy. The McCoy is what I've mentioned. It's the single window. I handled this project. I was driving the Interministerial Task Force on Trade Facilitation as DFID Trade Advisor in 2011, 2012. And we confronted this matter head on. It came to the fact that, to the point that Web Fontaine is a company that had a generic contract that included single window, and they were trying to unpack it. I said, for goodness sake, put your politics aside. That is what we want. However you sort it out, that is what we want.
Okay.
Every other thing will come around it.
Okay.
But that is it. That is where it is.
Okay.
At that time.
Yes. I must thank you, Professor Ken Ife, for all that you said on the program. Because of our time, we will not be able to cover more than this. Maybe there will be another opportunity for us to come back and give more insights into it. I thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, SSA, to the President, for what you are doing. Nigeria appreciates your contributions.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Well, this is where we call it a date on the program Nigeria Today. The program will be back tomorrow. I am Shegun Ojelade. Bye-bye.
Take a trip through one of the most beautiful places on earth. A journey of discovery. A unique opportunity to get in touch with unspoiled nature. Enjoy your time in a place that offers something for everyone. A land of beautiful contrasts. An experience you won't forget. Fascinating Nigeria.
To recession in 2016 and the attendant challenges led the federal government issuing an executive order in May of 2017 on ease of doing business in Nigeria. The order, which sought to address certain shortcomings in government circles and position Nigeria as a preferred investment destination, also aimed at achieving, among others, transparency in government ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs for short, deal with issues of poverty and job creation. With a national action plan rolled out in phases, Nigeria's quest for a competitive business environment is proving to be worth it. With phase 2, Nigeria has recorded an unprecedented move up the World Bank Index on Ease of Doing Business from 169 to 145. the third phase of the National Action Plan has just been unveiled by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. My name is Segun Ojelade. I welcome you to Nigeria Today. I'm being joined in the studio to discuss efforts so far at easing doing business in Nigeria by two eminent Nigerians. I have with me Dr. Mrs. Jumoke Oduwole. She is the Senior Special Assistant to Mr. President on Industry, Trade and Investment in the Office of the Vice President. I welcome you to the program.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
I also have Professor Ken Ife, a development economist, a well-known face on Nigeria Today. I welcome you, Prof.
Thank you very much.
Program. I think I'll start with you, Prof. Ease of doing business seems to be a very popular slogan in government, especially in business circle. What are some...
Strength grows in the moments when you think you can't go on, but keep going on anyway.
And when you can't simply go back and change the beginning, you can start where you are and change the ending. Welcome to Kliglight, a potpourri of everything entertaining. I am Captain Gufan Shaji.
And I am Akemini Williams, welcoming you to the month of love.
On the show today, a reverting story from grass to grace.
Africa is the future, basically. So I feel like Nigerian music has really grown. And to be honest with you, I don't really think anything beats Nigerian music.
And the glitz and glam of the 60th Grammy Awards.
Damn, Kendrick Lamar.
Wow, I just love love.
I like